Let's do this! And this is Super Vegito! Show me how tough you are by beating me!
Alright everyone, JB here, and we're back with another Dragon Ball LAYZ video on the channel today. Now today, we're going to be visiting the best teams that I personally think for Super Vegito or Legends Limited Fusion Vegito, whichever one you guys want to call them. It's been about a couple days, close to a week, since this unit came out alongside Vegeta. So we're going to be talking about that in this video. Now, just to address something before I start the video, the way we're going to do this is we're going to talk about the teams first. And then if you want to know about equipments as well, we're also going to talk about the equipment toward the end of the video for all those different teams and everything. So do be sure to stick around for that if you're looking for that. And always, if you're new around here, still leave a like on the video and join the channel, because it's very much appreciated. Anyone looking to join the Discord will be down below in the description. We also have raids, Shenron codes, all the good stuff going on. So if you're interested in that, check out the Discord description, linked in the Discord. You guys get what I'm saying. You know, I had a brain lag, but as far as that goes, let's hop into the first team. All right, so first team of the video will be Fusion Warriors, and I think this is probably one of their better teams. I mean, this one was a given. Now we're gonna go over what the main team. Now for me personally, you know, we're gonna explain all that, right? But we look at the team, right? Now the best team in my opinion right now so far that you can use is this setup right here. You see, now I don't personally use this setup since my Python and Vegeta is too low start, but Python is a good option to run alongside both of these guys, Vegito and Vegeta. Now another good option also, you know, we're gonna talk about the alternatives and all that good stuff. Let's say you don't have Python, maybe you don't have G4. A good alternative towards that is someone that I don't have is Ultra Vegeta Blue. Now, like I said, I don't have them, so I can't visibly put them on there for you. But when it comes to alternatives, you gotta put G4, who is what I normally run, since he is higher starred and he's Zenkai, opposed to my Python and Vegeta. So you see, they only 4 stars, so they wouldn't really last as long as I would want them to, even though they're a revival unit. But if you have them at, you know, higher stars than me, I do recommend running them alongside these guys. He's providing support. He's a revival unit, so he can take some hits, maybe even a rise and rush in certain you know, scenarios and all that good stuff. Now as far as like the bench wise go, now I think, you know, if you're running Python, you can put G4 there, you know, get them Zenkai buff, make them a little bit more tanky. You can put, I put a Nameku here because he buffs both strike and blast attack, and he's also Zenkai buff in Vegito. And then you got Gotenks here for the HP buff. Now don't, you know, do keep in mind, you know, I don't have a lot of these guys all the way Zenkai, so you know, you're gonna see some of these Zenkais incomplete, but he is buffing Fusion Warrior or Hyper Saiyan health. He's also Zenkai buffing Vegeta, who definitely needs it since he is the lower starred one out of Vegito. But this is for Vegito, you know, this video. Now when it comes to let's just say like alternatives, right? That way it's easier for you guys, you know, to just picture how I'm trying to put this at. Now let's say maybe you don't have Gotenks as a Zenkai buffer, right? But let's just say for a fact you don't have a lot of Zenkai buffers and you're limited. Another option I would say is you can throw Trunks right there on the bench. He'll still be Zenkai buffing Vegito since they're Vegeta clan. And then another option that I've also used if I don't want to fully Zenkai buff everyone is we can go right here now, and you can use this Broly, this EX Broly. Now if you have him 14 starred, he's given 50% to strike attack and blast defense. Now if you're going to run something like this where the bench is mainly focused on, you know, strike attack, and you're like me, then a good alternative is to run G4. Let's go back right here. A good alternative is to run G4 simply because, you know, he can tank a little bit better than Python and Vegeta. And the thing is, you know, like it's like I mentioned, mine isn't high starred, right? So if you want to do something like that and make a strike orientated bench, you can do that. You can also run this guy as well, because I believe, actually no, he does not buff Fusion Warrior, he buffs Sawdust. So if you want to Zenkai buff Vegeta or G4, you can, but if you're mainly looking for just to buff up Vegeta Blue, let's go over here to Blue. I would recommend throwing Trunks and who else? You got, well, you can throw Pan in there, but her is it, you know, if you have her and you don't have, let's say, Namegoku, she's an alternative as well, but her Z ability does suck. So I do recommend running something like this. Or if you don't have him, you know, another alternative for the bench is you can run which one is this? Majin Vegeta. Now I don't have him fully Zenkai, which is why I'm not personally running him, but he does buff Vegeta Clan and Saiyan strike attack and defense. And G4 is a bit more strike orientated, even though he is a defense unit as well, so do keep that in mind. So this is a good optimal setup, and you know, if you do have Gotenks, do run him as, I call this setup more of like a just all attack, you just want pure offense. You know, you're not really worried about, you know, health buffs and all that good stuff. But I do recommend, if you don't have Broly, you're gonna run either Gotenks on this setup for the bench, or you could also run Evolution Vegeta. He does buff Yellow and Vegeta Clan. That way Vegito is getting double Zenkai buff, and then Vegeta is also still getting Zenkai buff. And then, you know, you got Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in the leader slot, and he is just taking in all those Z abilities since he's in the leader slot, so you don't have to worry about him missing out on anything. But this is an optimal good setup. I feel like G4 is I feel like he's not as good as he was when he first got Zenkai, but he, not too much disrespect on the man's name, right? He's still up there, he still can compete. But as like I mentioned, if you want to Zenkai buff him, let's look right here real quick. You can throw in, let's say, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So let's say, well, I accidentally did that, but you can throw something like this, or just take off Vegeta and then throw in Goten, whichever one you want to do, right? When it comes to the bench wise. But the top three, you're gonna either have Python or Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And like I mentioned, if you don't have either one of them, or you don't want to run them, you can run Ultra Vegeta Blue, which I don't have. That's also another alternative right there. I will say Super 17, but the thing is with Super 17, he is blast orientated and he does not buff Fusion Warrior. So this wouldn't really be the most best setup for him, personally speaking. But yeah, that is it for the first team and all the good stuff. Forgot I had that on, but anyway, we're gonna hop into the next setup team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next team is Sun Family. I think this is definitely a pretty good team for them as well. When you look at Sun Family, now same situation. The first option would be to have Ultra Gohan in the leader slot, but I don't have him. So as an example, we're gonna probably just, let's go right here. We're gonna use a different Gohan just to have him as an example. So if we go down here, let's just switch this to Element. We're gonna use this, I mean, I really don't think it matters, but we'll use this Gohan as an example, right? Now we're gonna use him as an example. And when we look at Sun Family has a good amount of options, right? So as the main setup, this is something that you would probably be using right here. You got this Saiyan Saga Gohan, who is buffing Sun Family and Green, so that is going to be buffing Ultra Gohan. He also buffs blast attack and defense, and then you also have this Nameku, who again is buffing both strike and blast attack, and he's buffing Vegeta Blue. I mean Vegito, Super Vegito. And you know, you have Gotenks here for the HP buff. I feel like it's very important. You don't have to always have an HP buff on most of these setups, but I feel like, you know, after playing with the units a little bit, they do feel like I feel like Vegito takes hits a little bit better, you know, with the defensive mechanics he got for taking certain hits. and falling below a certain amount of HP, but at the same time they don't take hits as well, you know, unless you have them higher start. So, you know, they do take hits, but they don't take them as well. So that's why you see a lot of Zenkai buffs on some of these setups and HP buffers. But besides that, right, when you look at let's say alternatives, let's say you're like me, you don't have Ultra Gohan. Who I also don't have is Beast Gohan. That would be an alternative right there. You could throw in Beast Gohan in the leader slot. Another option would be probably, you can also use probably this guy right here, even though he does give his like his damage inflicted buffs, I believe, to GT, so that does kind of suck. But another option, I'm trying to think, if you want support instead, you could run let's say if you scroll down here, Goku and Bardock. That's also another option I was trying to mention. You can throw them. I don't have them either. You know, there's a lot of units you're going to see that I don't have. Another option is if you just want like straight up support, you can throw Pan on there. You know, but the thing is with that, you're going to have to put it in the leader slot if you want, you know, the setup like this, because I believe you won't be really the Zenkai buffer. I think if you look at red, yeah, like the only option I think will probably be this Gohan right here, and he buffs Hybrid Saiyans, yeah, in some family, and he also buffs red in some family. But when you look at the number one options, let's just say for example, okay, so I hope you guys don't hear that. There's someone out there cutting Raz. So hopefully you guys don't hear that right now. It's the most weirdest time for them to cut grass. But yeah, let's just use this Gohan as an example. So with this, right, when you look at the bench, now we're going to talk about the bench, you know, alternatives. If you don't have, let's say, Nameku, like I mentioned before, for some family wise, you could do this. You can throw on Pan. You know, say you don't have dope sense as a Zenkai buff, or you're like me, you don't have them at Zenkai 7. You could just not Zenkai buff Vegeta if you don't want to. Another option would probably be this Goku as well. I believe he buffs, yeah, it's yellow, but it's just their Z abilities suck. So if you don't want, you know, if you just want straight up Zenkai buffers, then that's what I would probably go for right here. And, you know, let's say you're running Red Beast, the only options for him is either this Gohan right here, or you can run let's say these guys right here, but they only buff, I believe, Sagas and Hybrid Saiyan. So the way that will work is you have to put them right there, and then you would have to switch out these two since Vegito isn't in Sagas from the movies. So you have to switch out those two and then put them in a leader slot instead. And essentially that's kind of how that would work, you know, as alternative wise, right? And there's also other Zenkai buffers as well. We're not gonna, you know, stray from it too long, but the number one option would be to either run Ultra Gohan and put him in a leader slot, or you can run Beast. And if you're looking for, you know, like the Zenkai buffers and all that good stuff, you can put them on. You can put Vegito in the leader slot and then put not Ultra Gohan, but Beast Gohan. You know, put him in the slot over here. But if you're not looking for Zenkai buffers, then you can put Beast Gohan in the leader slot, and then you can essentially, that way I can just show you guys, so you guys won't think I'm just talking nonsense. You can essentially just put them in the leader slot, so that way you can get better Zenkai buffers. And then just do that, you know, take them out. I don't, let's see, yeah, you could throw yeah, you could do this if you have this guy Z7, you know. Unfortunately I don't. You can do that, and then you can either throw gold tints, as I mentioned before, to buff them as well, or you can throw this Goku right here. So that is pretty much your two options. Or you can double Zenkai buff Vegito, you know. So you can do something like that, or you can throw in Trunks as well. Because at this moment, I'm really just, you know, just talking at this point. But you know, I like to throw in the alternatives so that way if people get confused, right? But I think a good alternative would be to throw either him or Trunks as a Zenkai buffer. If you want to double Zenkai buff him and then don't Zenkai buff Vegeta, which I don't understand why you wouldn't. You know, having Zenkai buffers are one of the more important themes nowadays. So yeah, that is personally what I think. You know, speaking of Trunks, he's right here as well. So yeah, you can do something like that. Like I mentioned, the third option could be you could run either Goku and Bardock, put them in the leader slot, or you can run Pan as, you know, support. And I feel like she's a little bit better to support opposed to Supreme Kai, but you know, that is personally what I think. But moving on to the next team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the third team of the video. Now we have Saiyans. Now with Saiyans, there's actually quite the amount of different options you can look at. Now, as mentioned, the reason why you see Broly there is because I feel like he's underrated. I don't see a lot of people talking about him as much. I feel like he's really underrated when it comes to Saiyan wise. But here's the thing. So this is a setup that I'm personally running whenever I, you know, play with this team and all the good stuff. And now this setup right here, you can use this setup. This isn't a bad setup. Now, if you're gonna run Broly, this is a melee, more of a melee focused, you know, setup and all the good stuff. Now, if you want to Zenkai buff Broly, I recommend taking out Namek Goku right there, and then you can use Super Saiyan 3 Goku right there. Another option is, I think you can use this Broly as well, but I don't think, yeah, you would have to switch, because he only buffs Sagas from the movies. So if you want to do something like that, you would probably have to switch Broly and Vegito, and then you wouldn't be able to use Trunks there because he only buffs, I believe, Vegeta Clan and hybrids in future, I believe. So this is what you would probably look at if you're running Broly. Now, when it comes to other options besides Broly, one of them could be, like I mentioned in the previous team, Goku and Bardock. That's also a good option right there. You can run them. Who else? There's some other options. You can also throw G4 in here, but you know, he's tended more to being Fusion Warrior, right? You have PyCon, that's another option right there. Who else? You can also throw in, let's say, I don't have them, but the Revival, Nappa and Vegeta, the Legends Limited, who we're also going to talk about later on in this video. You can throw them in there as well, as far as it goes for like purple wise, right? Yellow, you already have Gogeta. Blue, you already have Vegito. When you look at red, I mean, there's not a whole lot, I would say, so to say. You know, like, there's not really a whole lot there, right? But when it comes to different options, you know, you got Gogeta, you got Goku and Bardock, got the new Broly if you have them. You have PyCon. When you look at other options, let's see, because Saiyans is just so many different just variety of different units. So let's actually go right here real quick, because let's look at, there's a lot of different characters that I don't have that I'm forgetting to mention. Vegeta Blue, you know, he's tended more towards Fusion Warrior, but you can throw him in the leader slot. Like I mentioned, Goku and Bardock right here. Who else? I mean, I will say Super Vegeta, since he got his new plat. You can also throw him in there as an option. He does buff Vegeta Clan, and both of those units are Vegeta Clan wise. Baby, I don't know. Yeah, you know, he's not something I would throw in there as the first option, especially if it's Saiyan based, and he's buffed on the GT. But like I mentioned, this Revival Nappa right here into Vegeta, they're buffing Saiyans. And then another option is you probably could, let me see, no, they only buff GT. So I was gonna say you could use Bola and Vegeta there, because they're a great support, really great. But when it comes to that, that is pretty much the options for like the top three your main who you're gonna use. Now let's say that, like I mentioned, you want to run Broly. I already mentioned you can use this guy as Zenkai buffer. If not, you can double Zenkai buff Vegito in this setup. But let's say you want to use like Goku and Bardock, right? So they're blue. What we're gonna do is, like I like to do this. I like to throw in, and yes, I don't have this guy Zenkai buff. We're not gonna talk about it. Your boy has some breaks from the game, but when it comes to Goku and Bardock, they're Saiyans. You can throw in this guy. I was about to say, it's not letting me tap it. What's going on there? They are melee based, so this team, you know, it's strike orientated, focused. So you can lead Trunks there. You can lead this guy right there. But as always, we have to throw in some alternatives, right? So when we look at just blue buffers, and then you have like different yellow buffers, sometimes you don't need a Zenkai buffer. You know, you can use someone else, like a regular sparking character. I like to do this sometimes. Throw in some of those sparking characters that give that extra strike arts damage, because that actually, you know, it actually helps. It's like pure strike arts damage, I believe. And then you have the 30% the Sun Family titles from the movies. So sometimes you can throw something like this. Throw someone that's given that buff. You know, it's not a Zenkai buffer, right? But he's given a pretty good Z ability. And sometimes you don't need to have, you know, 3 Zenkai buffers, you know, to have a great team. Most of the time you just need a solid bench. You need a solid, you know, equipment wise. But besides that, right, I think when it comes to the bench, I said Goku and Bardock. I said Vegito. Now with Vegito, it is a little bit different. Let's see. Now he's red, but he's Fusion Warrior, so it's like it's the same thing with G4, right? They're a little bit more catered towards that Fusion Warrior side. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these two off. Now for Vegito, I mean, you can throw in this Goku right here, who I believe he buffs red and Saiyan, and he only buffs element red though. That's the issue. So another option is you have this Vegeta, but it all depends if whether or not you want to use this guy, right? Obviously you wouldn't want to do that because they wouldn't be getting that Z ability, but an optional, you know, setup is you can also throw this Vegito, I believe. Yeah, he does buff, but even though he is the free to play version, but you can throw him also on the you know, on the bench. But I think Vegeta is the more optimal setup right here. And then you can probably do something like, since it's strike orientated, you can probably just throw Gotenks in this slot, I believe. You know, it caters to, you know, it's up to you mainly, because I think he does buff strike. Yeah, he's melee based. So, you know, it's completely up to you if you want to Zenkai buff your entire team. You know, I'm really, at this point, I'm just yapping. But this is something that I would do if I had Ultra Vegeta Blue. I probably would switch out this Goku though for Gotenks. That's probably something I would do just to have the extra HP. Unless you're running equipment with HP as well. But that's probably something I would do right here. But yeah. We're gonna move on to the final team, and then we're gonna move on to the equips. So yeah, pretty lengthy video. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the final team. Now this is more of a I feel like a bonus that I want to throw in there, because I feel like this team is usable, definitely usable. Now Vegeta clan, except with the new Revival Nappa into Vegeta, I think this team is very, very optimal. You can use them because, you know, one, you know, Vegeta and Nappa, they're a revival unit, so they can take hits. Two, I feel like, you know, they're still one of those top 5 units. They might have been pushed a little bit, you know, with the new Vegeta and Vegito, but they're definitely up there. So if you want to run these guys alongside them, this is a setup that I would personally run. You know, you have Vegito as your Zenkai buffer. Now I believe if you have him 14 starred, which I don't, unfortunately, he does give a 12% to match HP as well. So the thing is, you could do that, you know, put him on the bench, put Namku because he's also given strike and blast attack, and then if you don't want the extra HP since you're already getting HP from Vegito, like I mentioned before, you can throw in, if I can find them, you can throw in Evolution Vegeta because he's given blast attack. And Nappa and Vegeta are range type, just for those who want to know. So you're still getting a little bit of strike, you know, from both Vegeta right here. You're getting some blast from both of these guys on the bench. You know, you got an overall just solid setup, especially with Vegito being able to, what was it called? I literally forgot what it was called, but whenever you rise and rush, he can pretty much, it's a guaranteed kill. You know, so it's somewhere in his kit. You know, I don't want to, oh, there it goes. When on rise and rush hits, but wager is lost, avoids counterattack and deals supreme damage. So pretty much it's a guaranteed kill. So, you know, you got someone for rise and rush protection with Legend Limited, Nappa and Vegeta because they're revival. Then you also got this guy, if you fuse into him, bam, you got a guaranteed kill as long as you can land the rise and rush. Now, also, you could double Zenkai buff him if you want to. Or if you don't want to double Zenkai buff him, you could use what I talked about earlier, if I can find him. You can use this Broly. Because that pretty much like 50% to yellow or blue. And also, you know, Nappa and Vegeta would be getting this as well. Straight attack and blast defense. So, you know, obviously I don't think they will be hitting as hard, Nappa, Vegeta, but you know, this is about Vegito. This video is about Vegito. So if you want them to hit hard, you got all these different buffs coming in, you know, and then you're also Zenkai buffing them. Could you imagine, you know, imagine if, you know, they gave this Broly a Zenkai buff and he buffs Saiyans or something like that. That would be insane because on top of that, he's giving 50%. You know, there are some other options, I believe. But the only issue is you wouldn't be able to place Nappa and Vegeta because they would have to stay in the leader slot depending on your bench. But if you also want a different HP buffer, I believe there is one more besides Gotenks. Did I hit a yellow by accident? I did. There is also Nappa. You know, let's just say you want more HP because HP has become pretty important in the game now. He's given 18% to Saiyans max HP buff. So that's another option as well if you have them. Pretty much majority of everyone should have them unless you're new, right? But if you want to double Zenkai buff, let's say Vegito, Trunks is an option, and also Majin Vegeta like I mentioned earlier. And besides that, that's going to be who, you know, what the optimal setup will be for Vegeta Clan. There's no other options, really. You could probably throw in, let's say, trying to think. Let's say grade 8 Vegeta, but I don't. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's red. You know, we got Vegito out there, a lot of them roaming around. I'm not saying that the guy can't compete. That he's still, I think he's a good, solid backup option. If you don't have, let's say, Nappa and Vegeta, and you want to run Vegeta Clan. So he's a good solid backup option. When he first got Zenkai, he also has a plat. I believe like 2 plats. He has one for himself, and I believe one also for I think either Saiyan Saga or just like powerful opponent wise. I could be wrong, right? But that is personally what I'm gonna do and leave it at that. But yeah, let's move on to the pretty much the equips. I'm gonna go over the equips of the main setup for each team that I did, and we're gonna leave it at that. See you guys there. Okay, so now we are here on, you know, the equipment side of what we're gonna go over really quick. Now the way I'm gonna do this, because the video is already probably gonna be pretty long. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna do the main setup of each team that we went over, and we're gonna do the equipment. Now I'm gonna go over a couple alternatives, but I'm gonna be really quick about it. So, you know, if you get a little bit confused, you can just pause it or just ask me in the comment section down below. Now we're gonna go over Vegito's side of equipment as well. Now I do apologize, I forgot to mention earlier in the video that I am a little bit sick. So if I'm clearing my throat a lot, or it sounds like I'm, just miswording some of my words, I do apologize, right? Now the way I want to do, the way that I do Vegito, or like any unit, I like to do 2 basic equips and 1 pure at the very least, right? Now what I would do is I would use this journey equip that's giving you 45% to all stats, well, to strike attack at least. I like to run this Vegito equip right here. It's giving you strike attack, special move, health, and then if I want to run a pure, if I want the most out of pure strike attack, I would run this fusion warrior equip, which is giving you up to 15%. But another alternative, I'm gonna throw in the alternatives now. And let's say that, for example, you don't have this journey equip, you haven't grinded for it. Another alternative is this Sun family one. It's giving you double strike attack, some special moves, some defense. And then another one that I like to mention is this equip right here. This is giving you special move, base health. This is the PvP equip, so this is the one that you have to shop, and it's actually pretty good in my opinion. You get 20% strike attack, and you get 12% to pure strike attack, and then you're getting some health. So if you already have an HP buffer, that's just even more health stacked upon that, right? And another option is either this one right here. This is for Fusion Warrior, where you're getting either strike attack or blast attack. You also have that for the blast defenses and the critical, or this new pure equip. And I actually like this one. This one is actually pretty solid. It's just giving you that double offenses, some special move. And let's just say you don't want to run that one. You want them to be a little bit more tanky. They did release this co-op equip. It's giving you critical. It's giving you double defenses, 20%, and then it's also giving you double offenses, but pure offenses for both strike and blast, up to 12%. And essentially speaking, you could run that and also run this one. That's both giving you pure, and it's also giving you base from that PvP equip. And, essentially speaking, I'll probably run something like this. If you just want pure offense. But if you want a little bit more HP, I would probably run the Vegito equip, because then you're getting both HP buffs from both of these equips right here, and then you're also getting a whole bunch of base and then still some pure, strike attack. So that's essentially what I would do for them. Now for PyCon, he is more blast orientated. So the first 3 options that I normally would run is this one right here, this Broly equip right here. It's giving you up to 30%, some strike attack and some defenses. And then this pure equip right here. This one right here is giving you double defenses, pure up to 15% blast attack, and then also 15% base. So this is a really good one I like to use, and it's based on each Fusion Warrior battle member, so it's perfect. Now, let's say maybe you don't have that one, or you want to use something different. There is 2 alternatives for that. You can run this one, which is giving you base health, and then it's giving you defenses and double pure offenses. And all you need is to just run Python, because it says solid from the movies and Otherworld Warrior, so that's essentially what he is. So you can run that, let's say, instead of that equip maybe, or maybe the Broly equip, right? But maybe you want to make him a little bit more defensive wise. You can take off this Broly equip and then just throw in that one. This is the Legends ranking equip. This one is giving you 45% to both defenses. So yeah, if you have him at higher stars than me, he's going to be a little bit more tanky. Give him a little bit more health, a little bit more defensive. And then at the same time, he's a little bit in between. He can do some damage, and he's also giving some health from that. I don't think he's getting any help from this one, but he is getting defenses, stacked up upon out of all these equipments. Besides that, if you just want to give him even more HP, you could probably, I don't recommend this one, since I feel like this one is better because it's give you offensive and health. But it is an option if you don't have this pot equip grinded out, especially, I don't have it grinded out, so that speaks a lot. And then we're looking at Vegeta really quick. Now they're the same, essentially. They're strike based. Now the way I like to, set these guys up, I give them this one right here, that Vegeta equip. I let it give him this one because it is a pure 15%. If you have 3 Saiyan tab battle members, and it's also giving you some health, special move, and ultimate damage. And then if I wanted to run another pure equip, or let's say just base, you can give them also a journey equip. Now let's say you don't want to run this Vegeta equip right here, right? This another option would be this. You're also getting up to 12%, but I think the most you would be getting is going to be probably from the Fusion Warrior equipment right here, up to 15%, or like I mentioned, this Vegeta equip. So that is an option right there as well. And then let's just say, like I mentioned, a lot of people have the Legends ranking equip if you haven't been grinding them. So another option is the new plat equip that they got, and theirs is actually a bit more on the damage side. It's not balanced. You get 28% the defense, you get special move, health restore, and you get up to 38% on strike attack. So if you don't have the journey equip like I mentioned, you can run something like this, where you're getting both of these giving you a good high stat and strike attack. You're getting special move damage from both of them. And then you got this one right here for the pure, that's giving you up to 15%. And then there's also another one. I don't know if, let me see. I don't know if they have it on here or not. Oh, this one right here. I think I mentioned this one. I don't know if I did. But this is also an option as well if you don't have any of those other pure equips that I mentioned. And all you have to have is just a Vegeta clan battle member. Is also giving you this right here. But yeah, that essentially is going to sum it up for them on this setup. We're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so we're moving on to Sun Family. So just to keep the video from being any longer, we're just going to go over Vegeta's equips that I would recommend on this setup. Now you're probably wondering why, Zenkai Gohan's there. He's just a representative for Ultra Gohan. So we're going to go over their equips in the different varieties, so that way it doesn't take too long. Because I feel like, the video's been dragging out longer than it needs to be. So on this setup, essentially your equips are probably going to be about the same. Your base equips are probably going to be about the same. When it comes to pure equips, I would probably opt to run this one instead. It's giving you double defenses and 15% pure strike attack. But like I mentioned, some of you might not have, let's say, that journey equip. So this PvP equip is a good option. So if you're playing PvP, you can grind it because you're getting coins that you can get off the shop for it. Like I mentioned before, it's giving you that health, both to base and pure strike attack. And another option is also you can run this Sun Family equip, giving you that defense, that double strike, some special move. And then let's just say you don't have this Doku equip, which is, I feel like it's a pretty easy equip to grind. But if you don't have it and you want to run something different, you can run this as well as your pure equip, giving you all that right there. And then also another option is, let's say if you don't really, you don't have an HP buffer, so you might want to have at least a little bit of health. So let's leave, let's say, that Vegito equip right there. I forgot to mention this one in the other team, but you can run this equip as well. You can get that strike attack. You can get that, this is mainly defensive orientated, but it's also giving you strike attack up to 32%. And then, as long as you have a hybrid Saiyan and a Saiyan battle member, which is what you're pretty much running, on Sun Family, you're gonna be getting double to both blast and strike attack. Not strike attack, but defenses. And it's giving you both base and pure. So you can make them a little bit more tanky if you want to. Pretty up to you though. That's something I probably would do. If you want to make them a little bit more tanky. But if it was essentially up to me, what I would run on this setup, if I had Ultra Gohan, right, I probably would run Pan instead. Since I don't have Gohan, I'll probably run something like this. You can throw this Vegito equip as well to give him a little bit more health. And it depends, if I want more damage, I will probably run that Doku equip. But if I want a little bit more HP and then a little bit more of a balance of damage wise, I'll probably run this equip as well. Or you know, if you want to run them a little bit more tanky, that's not personally something I would do, because they're not. You can give them as many Zenkai buffs and, you know, give them as much defense and health, but they're not going to be super tanky. Essentially, you know, they're still going to take some hits. So, you know, this is probably something I would run on this setup. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next team. See you guys there. Okay, so moving on to Saiyans. Now, same case, you know, some of the equips are gonna be pretty much the same, but if we were to look at something that I would run on this setup, I would probably do something like this. So I just love, you know, if you have this journey equip, it's a must run if you're gonna run it as a base equip. I would probably do something like this though. Run this equip, since you're still getting that pure, you just have to have a Vegeta clan battle member. Still getting defenses, you're still getting, you know, a little bit of everything pretty much. I would probably run something like that, and then since I have an HP buffer, I probably would give this equip a shot, since it's giving us that double offenses right there. But if you want more HP, like I mentioned before, you know, you would probably run this Vegeta equip 9 times out of 10. But if you want just pure raw damage, you don't care about the offenses, I mean, you don't care about the HP, you can run this equip right here, or you can run this equip like I mentioned. So those two are optional. This one is optional, but if you want a little bit more special move damage wise, I would run this one probably. You know, and this one does give you more strike attack. So if you want more just like pure damage, I would run that one over this one. This one just feel like a more like all-rounder balanced equip, giving you both blast and strike attack with a little bit of special move right there. But yeah, I would probably run this one over that one. This one is giving us up to 37%. Yeah, so that one is also a pretty good one. I think there's a pure Saiyan equip. I could be wrong. I don't know if I have that one grinded. There's a lot of equips I don't have grinded. I'm just gonna be real with you guys on that one. Let's see. I believe this one. Yeah, this one is just like a free equip. Yeah, but besides that, I think that would be probably the vast majority. There's also this one. You could run this one if you're running Broly. Only if you're running Broly, because he is, I believe he's under the powerful opponent tag. Let's see. Yeah, so you can run this one as well, because it's giving you that 15% when tagged Vegeta clan and tagged powerful opponent as a battle member, and that's to strike and blast defense pure. Now this is also giving you blast attack. That's unfortunate though. You know it's blast based, and they're not really, I mean, I would say with them at least, it's not too far off. You know, only about 10k on the stat wise, a couple k off. So you could give them that as well, and you're still getting strike attack. You know, so if you want to do something like that, you could probably run this, and they will be fine. You know, because you have that 15% right there. You get some blast attack. You know, even though they're not built mainly for blast attack, but it can never hurt to have some blast attack, right? But yeah, that's probably something I would do for them on this build. A couple options right there. If you want, let's say, more pure, like I said, I really love this PvP equip. I don't know what it is, but it just, I don't really see too many just solid PvP equips like that. I think the last one we had was the Shinra one. You can run this one as well, you know, still getting some base attack, and then you're still getting that pure, so you can still run that one as well. This one is, I would say this one is a solid option as well. I didn't really mention this one since they have so many different options for equips, but if you just want a well-rounded one, this one's giving, you know, double defenses, 35% to strike attack. You can also run that one, or if you don't have the journey equip, you can run that. You can run this one instead of the journey equip, essentially, and you're still only missing about 10% off compared to this equip. So, you know, there are some other options, but those are some of the main ones I would run probably on this setup right here. But if you're not running Broly, do keep in mind, do not run this one, because none of the other Saiyans besides Broly, I believe, are not powerful opponent based. So you wouldn't be getting any of those strike attack buffs from that. So do keep that in mind. So like if you're running like Goku and Bardock, you're running like Vegeta Blue, you wouldn't be running that Saiyan side of your equip. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next team. Okay, so final team that we're gonna do for the equipments for them is Vegeta Clan. Now obviously, like I mentioned before, we got the purple Vegeta right here to represent Vegeta and Nappa. So essentially, you know, it's going to be probably a vast majority of the similar equips, but we're not going to mention the journey equip for this one, just so that way we can just say that maybe you don't have the journey equip, but if you do, that would be probably your #1 option when it comes to pure equips. Now, when it comes to other pure equips, obviously I mentioned this blue Goku's equip as well. I mentioned the Vegeta equip. Now let's say you don't have those two, because I had to look for it from a standpoint maybe you don't have them grinded, because I don't have a lot of equips grinded out. Another couple options would be, let's say this awakening equip right here. Now it's a bit of a mix. You get up to 30% strike, special move, and 20% to blast. So you get a mix of both. You know, essentially you can't go wrong with that. Like I mentioned before, I didn't mention this one a lot, but this one is also a good option. Up to 35%, 15% right there to both defenses, some key recovery. And then, you know, I mentioned this, you know, this PvP equip a couple times as a pure equip that you can run. I mentioned this one as well. So you can run this one as well, as long as they are Vegeta Clan, which they are. And then, let's just say you don't have that plat equip. Like I mentioned before, we got this Vegito equip. You know, not a bad option as well. You know, you're getting all that right there. But yeah, essentially speaking, you know, that is something, a couple options if you don't have some of the equips that I mentioned before. Same thing goes with this plat equip. Now this one you can actually run. So this is probably something I would do as my main setup if I was running Vegeta Clan. So I'll probably put this one right here. I would probably, you know, if I didn't want to run the journey equip, which most of the time I'm running it, you know, it gives you it's such a high stat, 45%. But let's just say if I wasn't, I'd probably run something like this, you know, or if I didn't have this, let's say this Vegeta equip rounded out, I would probably run this Majin Buu Saga equip. You're still getting 35%, you're getting 37% from this equip, and then you're getting that pure, you know, the pure strike, and also, well, I actually looked at that wrong. That says strike and blast defense. So I might have spreaded some misinformation, but that actually says defense. So I do apologize on that, guys. You know, I overlooked that, but yeah. So unless you want to build them a little bit more tanky, well, obviously I'm double Zenkai buffing them on this setup. So what I would run probably is this, that, and then for the pure equip, I most likely would give it to him. Because besides that, you know, your only other option really is this pure equip right here. You could run this one, but you're only getting 10%, opposed to you getting the 12% on this one. And then also this one gives up to 15%. So you might as well take the one that gives, you know, the more pure attack. And you know, if I don't want to run the journey equip, I just want to be, I guess, handicapping myself. You can run that one. It gives you about close to about the same. What else? I've already mentioned this one. That's another option. Besides that, I did mention this one a couple times in the other teams, because it just feels like an overall just well balanced equip. You know, there's no defensive buffs on this one. It's just strike, blast attack, special move. So if you're fine with that, you can run this one instead, and then you can leave that one that was giving you some health. This one's giving you some health. There's no HP buffers. Well, the only HP buffer would be Vegeta right here, but only if you have a 14 star. So, you know, do keep that in mind. But besides that, that is essentially a couple options I would run. And also, like I mentioned before, you know, like my main option of what I would put on there for him on this team. But besides that, I think that would be it for today's video. honestly speaking, it feels like I was all over the place record this video since I don't feel that well. It's essentially why I didn't upload yesterday, so I do apologize for that. You know, trying to get better, but you know, it feels like I had a lot of brain lags that I'm not normally used to. So hopefully this video was somewhat helpful, right? But as always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.